Okay, so tonight I am going to show you how to build a really simple website using the Google Cloud. And we will actually start by going to a domain registrar of your choice. I'm using GoDaddy in this case. I would actually prefer to use Google Domains, which is in a beta round testing. But I've already used my one domain, and at the moment I can't purchase any more domains there. So we'll just use GoDaddy. So I'm actually going to cheat a little bit here because I have previously purchased this one domain. I can assure you it's not a difficult process. You do need to go and make sure that the domain you choose is available, and there's a whole science and art to that. But we're just assuming that you've already done that. So we're going to use this one called Clankit. I'm not currently doing anything with this site. So if we launch, we'll see some of the basic setup of this domain. And if I take you to a new tab, what you'll see is basically the default GoDaddy parked page. So as you register a new domain through GoDaddy, this is essentially what you see. Um, so we can close that out for now. Um, And now what I'm going to do at the moment is I am now going to launch the Google Cloud. And you do this simply by going in your browser to cloud.google.com. And when we come over here, I'm actually already authenticated, so I have some features available. But if I click into this Go to My Console, you'll see that um, I'm now immediately taken to this Google Developers Console, and it shows my available projects. Um, I'm not going to create a new project right now, but you can actually do that. It's a pretty simple process. You actually just go to this Create Project button, um, and then what you do is just then click into that project that you've created after you've named it. And now we're really inside the heart of the Google Cloud. And now what we're looking to accomplish here is we want to launch a new server or instance, as it's referred to in the cloud. And this instance is going to be the basis for our site. So I want to click into this VM instances section. And these initial stats you're seeing are just stats of what's been going on with the sites that with the instances that I've been running previously. So I'm going to click into VM instances, and you'll see I should have one instance in here. Yeah, I have this LaunchNJ website instance. I'm actually hosting a number of sites there, um, and very easily I could tack this Clankit domain onto this running instance that I have, and the setup would be very easy. But I want to show you doing this from scratch. So what we'll do is we will click New Instance. Let's see here, and we'll name it so it's memorable. Firewall. We want to allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic. That is basically the that is the protocol of the web. So if we don't allow HTTP traffic, we will not be able to serve a website on this instance. So we enable that. You get to This is pretty cool. You get to pick where you want to place your instance. We're going to put this in US Central 1A, which is where my other machine is. Here we choose the machine type. Obviously, the more powerful you get here, the more you're going to pay. We're basically just going to use a micro instance, which For a situation like this where where we're just running a very small site, it's actually completely adequate. So I'm just going to click on that and boot source. So new disk from image. This means we're going in with a fresh start. Um, and let's just pick this very first one here. It's a Debian 7 Wheezy build, which is a flavor of Linux. You can see this Debian GNU Linux. So I will click that. Standard persistent disk. That's fine for what we're doing. The SSD solid state drive could get us a little bit slightly better performance, but we'll just go with the default. Um, Network default. That's fine. External IP. We're not concerned at the moment about um, locking down an IP for a significant amount of time, so we'll just ephemeral is actually okay. Ephemeral meaning short-lived, but in this case it's fine for what we're doing for this demo. Okay, so now that instance is spinning up. You can see this this timer over here letting me know that this instance is being prepared for us. And in a minute, yep, there we go. Great. That's now available. So we have this instance Clankit. External IP. Okay, so this is now immediately how we are going to access this instance from the web. So this actually is out there on the web, and it's somewhat accessible, because we opened that hole in the firewall. But we're actually not going to be able to do anything with it just yet. That is actually expected. The first thing is that it's not running a web server at the moment. So we now need to. What we're going to do now is connect to this instance. So you see over here this connect, and we're going to go into SSH connection. This will launch an SSH session that will take us to our newly created instance. Um, and we are now at the command line of this server. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to issue a command called sudo su, and what this does is this actually allows me to change the user uh, that I'm authenticated to this site as. So you can see on this left side over here, this initial account. Once I issue this sudo command, I should get root access. And the reason we want that is because the root access is, the administrator for the box. And we need admin rights to do some of the things that we're going to have to do. So simple sudo su command, you'll now see that we have this root level access. That's what we want. Let's just change to the absolute base. Okay. And the first thing we need to do is we need to put a web server on on this instance. And so there's a thing called, we're going to use what's called Apache 2. And so in Debian we can issue a command like this. It's apt get install Apache 2. Oh, sorry, one second. I need to run an update first. No, update. Okay. So we need to run this initial update process. It goes and just gets, the latest version of all the default packages. You know, all the updates since since this image that Google's made available has been made available. It's all those instances. Sorry, all those updates. And so what we need to do now after we've run the update, we can now install Apache. Okay. Just confirm that. Yes. Okay. So that's installing, and that's great. And you'll see here, so this is a very good sign here. Okay, starting web server. So Apache is now actually started, and you may not have noticed before, but oh, sorry, no, I wasn't in the right directory. Okay, so if we go here, um, this default is actually this www directory, and that gets, that directory gets created when Apache is installed. So Apache is now up and running. So if we actually go back to this IP address for the site, we should now see a page. Yes, perfect. Okay, so we are now up on the internet. Um, okay, so now that we have a site up and running, what we now need to do is pop back over to our domain registrar and have that point to this IP address. So, again, this is actually public on the internet now, but it's obviously not a friendly name. So what we want to do is we want to connect our our domain name to that IP address. And what we do is, at least in GoDaddy, we go over to this tab for DNS zone files. So basically, there should be a similar action in whatever registrar you're on. Um, if you're on GoDaddy, this is this is the literal thing that you need to do. So what we'll do is edit this record, okay? Um, and I will take this IP address and paste that into this section. Just IP address. Okay. Um, Hopefully I can reduce this. No, it will not let me. Okay. So this time to live, this, oh, save changes. This TTL value here is actually, it's time to live. Um, it determines how long different servers, different routers out on the internet will wait until they check to see if the location of this host name of this domain name has changed. These DNS settings have changed. So we're actually going to have to wait a little while. What that means is we're going to have to wait a little while for this, for this change to go through. So if I go back to that domain now, most likely nothing will have happened yet. Oh, never mind. So that is actually up, and we are now connected to our server. So this domain name is now pointing to that IP address. So now we have a friendly way of of getting to this location. Um, that is now actually a very rudimentary website. This is actually running on the Google Cloud. This is a legitimate website. The next steps we need to do is obviously build a much more robust website. We could choose to install WordPress here at this location. We can upload any files that we'd like to upload. We can, we can modify this index file. So, for example, if I just make a quick change to the index.html, I'll issue this nano command. And let me just make a really small change. Okay, save that. And if I reload, you'll see an updated website. So that's basically it. In the next tutorial, we'll run into creating a much more robust website. But this is, basically the simplest website, you can possibly put together. Okay, that's it.